Okay, choke collars. We're going to rip through this pretty quick because, as you notice, I kind of break these things up into takes. Partly because this particular camera only does 5 minutes at a time. What a pain in the butt. But you know what? It's a free website. I can't afford to buy a big expensive camera. Neither can Jake. Especially him because, you know, everything buys his treats. Anyway, choke collars. This is a choke collar. I think I showed you one, but let's talk about what it is. 2 big rings and something in between. Nylon's the same. See? And how you put them together is you slide it through itself like this, and you create the collar. Then you put it over your dog's neck like this. Now, you can tell you've done it right because it'll release. See? As soon as the pressure's gone, it becomes loose. That's very important because if it doesn't, then you're just going to be choking your dog all the time, and who wants that? So, make sure it is always, you know, getting loose. So, let me see. See? See how you're doing? And you always want the chain to be coming up from the bottom like this. See how it releases? But if I flip it so that the chain's over top, oh, it doesn't release. Okay? So like this. Should make a P. See? P? P. P for poop. That's a bad name, isn't it? Anyways, so that's how you put it together. You should never leave your dog with one of these on, because if this ring hooks onto something, whether it's your deck or a tree or whatnot, they don't understand how the choke really works, so they'll fight it. They'll be, and it'll kill them. And if you kill your dog, I'm going to come kill you. No, I'm not, but don't kill your dog. Really. I really don't want you to kill your dog. So, if you really must, leave them together. Just tie both chains together with your training lead, like this, and then it can't do anything. But, that said, it's also pretty big. Nylon will be smaller, so they might just pull out of it. That's why these are great. Yeah, always have one of these, jewelry, and tying up. Alright, so let's quickly talk about how to use it. And I'm having trouble putting it together because I'm bad. So remember, look up. Oh, P. Okay, so wrong. Oh no, right? Sorry. And I won't say wrong because we already did wrong. My brain's all fuzzy. Jake's all fuzzy. It's all his fault. He's giving me his bad look now. So I better get on with it. Okay, so the purpose of this collar is not to always be choking your dog. If they're always pulling, you're doing it wrong. This tool is designed to simulate how it would be in the wild. A mother dog, when they correct their pups, they give them a light, you know, bite on the neck. And it's not really a bite, it's just pressure. And that's the same as what this is supposed to do. It's just light pressure, okay? So you just give it a light tug, and it'll release. And that's how you tell the dog they've done something wrong, okay? Depending on the dog, you're going to have to use different amounts of pressure. 300-pound mutant pit bull is going to require a heck of a lot more pressure than a chihuahua. But the key here is not to hurt your dog. It's a communication tool, okay? Pressure, release. You're trying to create an illusion of how it would be naturally for them so they can easily understand. This works best when they're a puppy, but you can teach old dogs new tricks. Although, you try teaching old human new tricks, you know, grandpa trying to play basketball, it's just rough. Anyways, so that's the extent of it. They do something wrong, light tug, and correction. Okay? Tug, release. Not enough to hurt them, just enough so they can feel the pressure. If they do something right, cookie. The key here is just to communicate that they are doing something wrong, not to choke them. If you're choking them, you are screwing up, and I'm going to come get you. No, I'm not. I'm going to sick Jake on you. Well, he's lazy. Okay, we'll hire that mean 300-pound pit bull I talked about. So don't choke your dogs, please. That's definitely the wrong way to do it, and most people do it that way. So it's a good thing I made this video, right? Or Jake's making this video. Mr. Director's chair over there. Oh yeah, no, okay, fine. Anyways, that is choke collars. So I'm gonna finish this take by just telling you next is the more exotic collars, the cool stuff. That's probably more useless, but we'll talk about it anyways. And also, I apologize for all these takes. You know, it's 5-minute intervals because my cheap-ass camera is not really meant for video, and Jake won't front for a new one because he spends all his money on cookies and free website and all, so can't really buy a lot of stuff. So let's move right into the next stuff. And I'm back. Where'd I go? I didn't go anywhere. I just went to reset the camera. It's a cool camera. You should see it. It's really nice. Jake loves it. He takes pictures all the time. He's a big smile. Anyways, well, he's all more handsome than this ugly mug. Anyways, so now we're going to talk about the more obscure collars. I'll try and get through this fairly quickly. First one I'm going to talk about is a semi-slip. It does essentially the same thing as a choke collar, but without the risk of actually choking them. The problem with it is once it really reaches that limit of how far it can choke, it's essentially just one of these regular collars. So essentially it's got all the upsides of a regular collar and gives a little bit of pressure. You could use it if you wanted. It's sort of a poor man's, well, not poor man because they're usually more expensive, but it's a less effective choke collar because it really doesn't communicate all that well. You can use it if you want. You can get them at most pet stores, so I'm just going to leave it at that. They're really easy to use. They adjust. Try and aim for it so that in the choke form it is actually putting pressure on their neck, but in the loose form it's not going to actually come off their head, because I've had that happen. So that's the semi-slip. Next we're going to talk about this harness thing quick. And the harness just kind of goes on your dog like so, and this would be in their chest. And it puts no pressure on their neck at all, and it's great for that, right? I mean, this harness is a little... You can get harnesses of all type. Slide harnesses... I'm not a really big fan of this type of harness because it doesn't really protect them all that much. But that's because of the purpose I put on my harnesses. But it's a good example of how harness works. And usually the dog's kind of in front of you, so having the rings out front is bad, I think, because you're always trying to pull them around, and dogs don't walk backwards very well. So if you got a dog that heels behind you really well, I guess this could work. But I don't know, I see really no point for training. That said, there are a couple really good uses for it. The first thing is riding in cars. We'll do a lesson on that later, or Jake will, and we'll talk about how to safely ride in cars. But if you don't have a car harness or anything, one of these harnesses is great. You just tie it to the seat belt, and if you have to stop suddenly or you get in an accident, God forbid, it'll protect your dog and it won't be on their neck like all these other things. So it's great for that. And the other thing I like to use these for is if you're going hiking where there's cliffs and stuff, because in the mountains, if they fall off a cliff and you've got something around their neck, you'll kill them. It'll break their neck. Whereas with the harness, that's not true. It'll just kind of, if it's a light dog, it'll just hang there until you pull it back up. If it's a heavy dog, you'll go down too. So get stronger if you have a 200-pound Rottweiler. Actually, don't have a 200-pound Rottweiler. The breed standard's like 85, so if it's 200 pounds, your breeder has done something really wrong to the genetics. But that's just a side note. So yeah, that's harnesses. Next we're going to talk quickly about this little device here. And let's see if I can put it on right, because I hate them. Okay. No. And it's totally wrapped up, so that'll make things way easier. And I don't have a dog to put it on, but here's the general idea. Here we go. So this part goes behind their head, like so. And then this is their nuzzle, right? And it comes down off their face like this. And when you pull on it, their head goes down. It's called a gentle halter. How useless. Okay, so what it does is it pulls their head instead of choking them or whatever. Seems like a gentler way to do things, right? But it's really not, because when you pull down, it puts all this pressure on the back of their neck. You try pulling your head down, it hurts all down your spine. So that's really the reason I don't like these things, because it's putting all this pressure on the back of their spine, and it really isn't gentle. I mean, it seems gentler from the human's point of view, but the reason dogs stop when you pull on this, the reason it works is because it hurts. And they're not horses. Their heads don't work the same, and that's basically how this works, is because with a horse you pull their head back, but the horses, ungulates, they're all very different in their anatomy. Dogs have a more straight spine. So if you pull them back like that, you're putting all this unneeded pressure on the back of their neck, and I really don't want you to do that. So let's just avoid these things altogether. I know some people really like them, but I don't know. Gone. So that's the kind of more gently things, or implied gently things. So all we have left is this thing. It's evil looking, and we're going to talk about it after this tape. So